She walked in, draped in a crisp cream blazer, smiling like the lights and lenses were old friends. By the end of the hour, that smile would be gone, burned away, and replaced with sharp edges, clipped words, and the scrape of a chair shoving. Back on live TV, no one at Loose Women thought the Duchess of Sussex would crack. No one thought Denise Welch would push back. Absolutely no one expected the words Meghan dropped in the final minutes. This wasn't daytime fluff. This was a live detonation waiting for a spark. The set shimmered in soft lights and the quiet hum of anticipation. ITV had landed a booking triumph Meghan Markle, the Duchess herself, in what was billed as a candid, warm conversation. The producers promised balance and respect, but everyone in the building knew the temperature would shift the moment she stepped on stage. Ruth Langsford, ever the gracious conductor, smiled into camera. "Good afternoon. We have a very special guest, mother, advocate, philanthropist, and of course, royalty. Please welcome Meghan, Duchess of Sussex." Applause swelled. Meghan strode in, wave-light posture perfect. Ivory blazer, beige trousers, hair pulled back into a polished low bun. She smiled at Ruth and took her seat between Denise Welch, Kay Adams, and Janet Street Porter. "Thank you so much for having me," she said smoothly, voice velvet. "It's wonderful to be back in the UK, even briefly." Ruth smiled knowingly, as if she'd just heard the ice crack beneath their feet. The opening minutes were polite. Meghan discussed her children's book, her foundation's work, and kindness in media narratives, her sentences rolling like they'd been rehearsed in front of a mirror. Then Ruth, with a small glance to her panel, shifted. "Denise, I believe. You had a question?" Denise leaned in. "Yes, Meghan. You've been open about your struggles in the royal family. I believe those struggles. But in difficult situations and suits, in friendships, do you ever think the environment wasn't always the problem?" A polite version of the question. No one dared ask. Meghan's eyes hardened. "Denise, I came here to talk about my current work, not to relive old narratives. I've addressed that publicly." "Of course," Denise replied. "But viewers want to understand how those experiences shaped your journey, not just what happened, how you see it now." Meghan's jaw tightened. "Interesting word, perspective, coming from you." Janet shifted. Kay glanced at Ruth. Ruth jumped in. "Why don't we talk about your podcast, Meghan?" But Meghan swiveled back to Denise. "You've built a career critiquing women in the public eye. It must be nice, sitting there, judging from a comfortable chair." "I'm not judging," Denise replied evenly. "And I'm answering," Meghan snapped. "Just not how you expected." Kay tried to lighten things. "How's it felt being back in the UK?" Meghan smiled thinly. "No, it's not like I rolled out a welcome mat. I'm used to walking into rooms where I'm not entirely wanted." Janet chimed in. "Let's talk about Harry. How is he?" Meghan's voice was cool. "Harry's doing fine. He has a real family now, one that sees him." Denise asked softly. "Do you miss him being close with his brother? You seem very invested in my husband's private life. Maybe ask him?" "That's fair," Denise said, "but some wonder if reconciliation is possible." "I'm not here to stage a family reunion," Meghan shot back. "I'm here because your producers begged my team for months." From there, the gloves came off. "Denise, you've spoken about privacy, but also done interviews, documentaries, books. Some see a contradiction." Meghan, the classic "you wanted privacy, but you're on Netflix" line. Privacy means control of your story. Maybe that's too complex for some to grasp. Denise, viewers can grasp nuance. When you ask for space and release a 6-part series, Meghan, still doing this? It's giving tired, Denise. Read a new tabloid. Ruth tried to pivot to her children. Meghan refused. Now let's stick with Denise's obsession. Maybe she wants headlines. Denise, not headlines. Honesty. Meghan leaned in. Honesty is subjective. Didn't they teach you that in journalism school? If you went to one, the studio went still. Denise pressed on. There are reports Harry's been in the UK without you. Is everything okay? Meghan's smile froze. None of your business. No. But you've made your relationship central. To your story, maybe I've learned my lesson. Opening a window isn't an invite to kick down my door. Are you two still together? Denise asked quietly. He's doing what he needs to do. I'm doing what I need to do. That's healthy. Denise, when you told Oprah your mental health was at risk, it resonated. But seeing you dismiss questions like this, Meghan cut her off. You don't get to police my trauma expression. If I'm fiery, it's because I've been burned. Ow. Suggested a break. Meghan stayed put. I'm fine. Didn't come here to be picked apart by someone who thinks Union Jack earrings make her a patriot. And with that, the air in the studio turned electric-charged, dangerous, and impossible. To cut to commercial without someone getting singed, the audience let out a sharp collective gasp, the kind that makes producers lean forward in the control room. Denise's lips pressed into a thin line stung, maybe, but unshaken. Look, Meghan, she began, voice measured but firm. Don't hate you. I don't even dislike you. But you've built a world where only your pain counts, and everyone else is just an antagonist in your story. Meghan's chair scraped as she stood this time. For real. She wasn't leaving yet, but her posture screamed one wrong word, and I'm gone. Turning to the audience, she delivered a cold smile. This is what happens when you speak your truth. In Britain, you get mocked, minimized, and turned into the punchline of your own trauma. Then, leaning toward Denise, she whispered, and they wonder why I left? The light seemed hotter now. Meghan stood with her arms crossed a wall. Not a guest. Denise sat still, her every muscle tight with restraint, while Ruth Langsford tried to salvage the wreckage. Meghan, perhaps we can shift to your philanthropic Work Your Archwell Foundation, your new women's education initiative. That's something our viewers would love to hear about. Mum. But Meghan didn't even glance at Ruth. Her eyes were locked on Denise. Funny, she smirked. You didn't want to talk about that before? You were too busy dissecting my marriage and mental health? But now we're suddenly into philanthropy. How convenient. Adams stepped in. I don't think anyone here is trying to corner you, Meghan. We just wanted a conversation. Oh, please, Meghan snapped. If you wanted a conversation, you'd treat me like a human being, not a headline. From the far end, Janet Street Porter muttered under her breath, Well, you certainly make enough of those. Excuse me? Meghan shot back her eyes. Narrowing. Janet waved her off. Nothing, just an observation. That's when Denise finally lifted her chin. You walked in here asking to be heard, and for the last 20 minutes, that's what we've done. We've listened, even while you mocked us and questioned our intelligence. At what point do you realize this isn't a conversation? A monologue? The crowd rippled with soft gasps. Meghan's heels clicked like gunshots as she stepped forward. I came here thinking I'd be speaking with women who understood struggle, not gatekeepers, for some outdated idea of British womanhood. Denise leaned in, voice like steel. And I came here thinking I'd be speaking with someone who wanted dialogue, not a stage. A stage? Meghan's tone sharpened. You think I enjoy being scrutinized for every breath I take? You're doing a great job acting like it, Denise replied coolly. Because instead of using this platform for your causes, you've spent it belittling everyone here. The audience clapped once loud enough to sting. Meghan flushed. Do you have any idea what it's like to be hunted by the press? I do, Denise said. I've battled mental illness publicly. I've buried friends. Been twisted into circus acts. The difference is I didn't weaponize it. I didn't turn it into a brand. Gasps again. That's disgusting, Meghan shot back. You're accusing me of profiting from my trauma, I'm saying. Denise replied evenly. If you want to be seen as real, stop selling yourself as untouchable. A tense silence fell. Meghan turned toward Ruth. Are you going to let her shame me on national television? No one is shaming you, Ruth said, shaken. We're just trying to get past the script. Meghan laughed sharp and humorless. I should have known better than to come here. 8. She gripped her chair but didn't sit, leaning forward instead. You know what's exhausting? Fighting your whole life to be heard, only to be told you're too loud. Denise didn't miss a beat. You know what's exhausting? You watching someone twist every question into a personal attack because they refuse to answer honestly? Wire finally snapped. Hope this was worth the ratings, Meghan said coldly. Because I'm done with this interview, and this charade you call journalism. Turning to the audience, she added, Think twice about who you let define. Your truth. Her mic hit the table. She turned for the exit, but Denise's voice cut through. If this is so unbearable, maybe this platform isn't for you. That was the match. So now you're telling me to leave? Is this journalism now, pushing people until they break? No, Denise said, standing now.
I tried, so I'm telling.
If you think you're being mistreated, you're free to go. I'd never keep a guest in an environment they claim is harming them. I don't need your permission to leave, Meghan hissed, unclipping her mic. I'm done being your punching bag, Meghan. Please, Ruth pleaded. No, Ruth, Meghan barked. You let her tear me apart. You let it become a circus. And Denise, she pointed, you're not a journalist. You're a gossip columnist with a camera. Denise stayed silent. Meghan stalked toward the door, but stopped just before leaving. Let the world see this. This is exactly why I left the royal family, because people like you think silence is grace and truth is arrogance. And people like you, Denise replied, think every disagreement is persecution. The door slammed. Silence fell. Ruth looked pale. Janet seemed shell-shocked. Denise simply sat down and exhaled. After a long beat, Ruth cleared her throat. We'll be back after the break. Black screen, one of the most explosive daytime TV moments in British history, had just unfolded. A royal guest walking out, a panelist refusing to bend. And the question on everyone's mind was Denise pushing too hard, or was Meghan Markle unwilling to be challenged? Tell us in the comments. And if you want more unfiltered moments like this celebrity clashes, raw truth, and no PR polish, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Because here, we don't do safe fluff. We show you the drama they wish they could edit out.